In the pursuit of power, few understand the sheer dominance of perception over reality. It is not the truth that determines who holds influence. It is what others believe to be true. You need not be great. You need only be seen as great. Power flows not to the most capable, but to the most convincing. When a man walks into a room and commands attention without saying a word, it is not his resume that speaks. It is the illusion he casts. Appearances are a weapon. If others perceive you as strong, wise, and invincible, then for them you are. Their reactions to you shape the terrain upon which you walk. Every eye that lingers on you with awe, every whisper that suggests your authority, becomes a brick in the fortress of your power, and the most cunning know that fortress need not be built with stone but with shadows and suggestion. He who controls perception controls behavior. The masses do not follow because of logic. They follow because they are drawn, impressed, or afraid. They submit to what they think they cannot surpass. Therefore, control the image and you control the mind. Appear certain even in uncertainty. Show composure even amid chaos. If others believe you have everything under control, they will hand you the reins willingly. The man who appears to know more than he does will always be treated as a sage. The man who seems confident will always attract followers, even if he leads them off a cliff. This is the cruel but eternal law of human nature. We judge the book by its cover and rarely turn the pages. Perception allows a fool to wear the mask of a genius and be treated as such. It permits the weak to wear the armor of the strong and go unchallenged. Those who underestimate perception cling to authenticity, thinking truth alone will carry them to power. But power is not awarded for honesty, it is taken through manipulation. Appear morally upright even if you are ruthless. Seem humble even when your ambition knows no limit. If others see a virtuous leader, they will support you even when you crush them underfoot. If they believe you are noble, they will justify your cruelty as strength. A reputation is a tool, more valuable than gold, sharper than steel. Once others believe you are a man of success, they will treat you as one. Doors open, words are obeyed, opportunities multiply. And the irony is this: by merely appearing powerful, you become powerful. Perception births reality. But the illusion must be crafted with precision. Confidence must be unshakable but not arrogant. Power must be projected, not flaunted. A tyrant who boasts is feared and resented. A sovereign who remains calm and distant is revered. Silence can be louder than speeches. The right glance, the right posture, the right tone, all shape how others view you and in turn how they treat you. Perception, once established, becomes self-sustaining. When others believe in your greatness, they begin to spread that belief themselves. Rumors amplify it. Stories reinforce it. You no longer have to prove anything. The world begins to prove it for you. In rooms you've never entered, your name will carry weight. In conflicts you never joined, people will speak of your potential reaction as if it were law. Perception becomes a ghost that haunts your enemies and a god that blesses your allies. Do not concern yourself with the truth of who you are. Concern yourself with the image of what others think you are. Reality is malleable when filtered through perception. Your presence must cast doubt on others' certainty. Your voice must override reason, and your silence must thunder louder than the crowd. Confidence is not merely an attitude, it is an arsenal. It is the silent force that bends others without resistance, commands without words, and asserts dominance without confrontation. It does not matter what a man knows, what he possesses, or what he has accomplished. If he does not radiate certainty, he will be overlooked, questioned, and eventually replaced. Power does not tolerate hesitation. Authority despises self-doubt. In every battle for position, wealth, or influence, the man who believes in himself more will always have the edge, even over the man who might be more qualified. To wield confidence as a weapon, one must understand its psychological grip. Human beings are drawn to what appears stable, certain, and unmoved. A voice that doesn't tremble, a gaze that doesn't avert, and a walk that doesn't hurry. These are the signs of inner power. Most people are insecure. They look for direction, for assurance, for someone to follow. Confidence satisfies that hunger. The moment you show no doubt in your presence, you become the magnet in the room, the one who doesn't need to ask for attention because the atmosphere bends around you. Confidence makes you untouchable because it gives others no room to question you. When you speak with authority, even lies sound like truths. When you act without apology, even mistakes look like strategy. Most people wait for validation before they act. The powerful act first, and watch as others scramble to justify or oppose them. Confidence causes hesitation in your enemies. It implants fear in your rivals. Even when you have nothing, if you appear to have everything, others will calculate their moves more carefully around you. To carry confidence as a weapon, you must first destroy your need for reassurance. You must be your own standard, your own source of legitimacy. If you enter a room needing approval, you've already lost. Power belongs to the man who gives approval, who sets the mood, who decides what is acceptable. A truly confident man never asks, "Is this okay?" He declares, "This is how it will be." Such confidence unsettles people. They are not used to unwavering energy. It disrupts their rhythm, disturbs their expectations, and forces them to adapt. Confidence is not loudness. It is not arrogance. The truly confident have no need to boast because their presence alone speaks volumes. They do not beg to be heard. They do not argue to win. They simply assume they are already right. This assumption becomes infectious. People begin to believe what the confident man believes, not because they are convinced by logic, but because they are seduced by certainty. Where others stammer, you speak. Where they apologize, you affirm. Where they shrink, you stand tall. And here lies the brutal truth. The world does not reward those who deserve power. It rewards those who claim it. You could be the most capable man in the room, but if you carry yourself like a servant, you will be treated as one. But the man who steps in like a king, who assumes respect, who does not flinch when challenged, that man will be obeyed even by those who resent him. Why? Because his confidence speaks louder than their conscience. Confidence shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. When you speak your goals with certainty, people assume you must be on your way. When you lead without asking permission, others follow. And even if you fail, your unwavering belief makes others frame your failure as temporary. Confidence rewrites the narrative. What might have looked like defeat becomes part of a larger plan. People trust a man who never wavers because they wish they could be that man themselves. To master confidence is to weaponize belief, not just belief in an idea or a future, but belief in yourself, beyond reason, beyond fear, beyond circumstance. When the world throws its doubts at you, you do not respond with defense. You respond with indifference, because you already know who you are. And when others see that, they either kneel or move aside. Comparison is the silent thief of authority. The moment you measure yourself against another, you confess that they are a reference point worthy of your attention. To compare is to descend, to lower yourself into a common pool where others reside. Power is not gained by proving you are better than others, but by making comparison impossible. Those who rule do not compete, they stand alone, beyond reach, beyond category, above all measurement. When you allow yourself to be compared even favorably, you become part of a system where others may one day surpass you. You permit the idea that you can be equaled, improved upon, or replaced. The truly powerful destroy the very framework of comparison. They do not seek to be the best player, they redefine the game. They shift the focus away from metrics and rankings and force others to play by their rules. The goal is not to be seen as better. The goal is to be seen as other, unmatched, untouchable, a different breed entirely. This requires ruthless discipline. You must never respond when others attempt to weigh you against your rivals. Do not engage in debates designed to determine superiority. Do not list achievements to prove worth. These are traps. They lure you into a shared arena where you must fight for space and where even victory admits the legitimacy of your opponent. Instead, act as if comparison itself is beneath you. Let others speak of rivals. You remain silent. Let them argue who is greater. You look past them. Your silence, your disregard will speak louder than defense. It implies you do not see them at all. Those who constantly compare themselves invite weakness. They seek validation through relativity. They must prove they are richer, stronger, smarter, more respected. But in doing so, they confess that their worth depends on external contrast. They exist only in relation to others. The sovereign man does not need the mirror of society to see himself. His value is internal, absolute, non-negotiable. He does not rise because others fall. He rises because no one else exists in his category. Suppressing comparison also protects your mind. When you measure yourself against another, you subconsciously limit your potential. You begin to chase a position rather than pursue domination. You set your ceiling at another man's level. And worse, you begin to copy. You imitate. You lose the very uniqueness that would have made you unforgettable. The powerful know that imitation is dilution. The more you resemble others, the more replaceable you become. Even praise that places you above others is a double-edged sword. If they say you are better than him, they imply you are still in the same frame. The highest position is not above others, but outside the hierarchy entirely. You do not want to be the best singer or the best strategist or the best speaker. You want to be a figure so singular that no one can be named in the same breath. You want to shift the conversation from better to unlike any other. To suppress comparison is not to be indifferent. It is to be deliberate. You must elevate your name until it floats on its own, unsupported by contrast. You must carry yourself as though competition is laughable, not because you believe others are worthless, but because they are irrelevant to your mission. You are not running the same race. You are building an empire in a different world. Let others look sideways at their rivals. You look forward or upward or inward, but never around. In private, you may study your opponents. You may analyze their movements, their tactics, their flaws. But in public, you grant them nothing. Not a word, not a glance, not a whisper of acknowledgement. Your energy belongs to your own ascent. Let others exhaust themselves chasing titles. You will craft your own legend. Power begins before a single word is spoken. It resides in posture, presence, silence, and the subtle cues that ripple through a room the moment you enter it. The man who understands how to dominate with demeanor holds a weapon sharper than rhetoric and stronger than logic. His movements do not beg for approval. They command attention. His gaze is not searching for permission, it asserts ownership. Demeanor is silent domination. It is the language of rulers who do not waste time explaining their place because their very existence makes it obvious. A weak man seeks control through noise. He raises his voice, gestures wildly, and spills his emotions across every surface, hoping that chaos will grant him presence. The strong man needs none of that. His stillness is heavier than others shouting. He does not move unless necessary. He does not smile unless it serves him. He does not fidget or overexpress because every movement is intentional, calculated, and understood as a signal. Those around him take notice not because he demands it, but because his very presence alters the atmosphere. Your demeanor must suggest that nothing can disturb you, that whether the room is filled with kings or fools, your pace will not change. When others panic, you remain calm. When they raise their voices, you speak more softly. When they posture for power, you stand still. This reversal unsettles people. They are used to noise being a sign of dominance. But the truly powerful never compete for attention. They own it by their refusal to chase it. There is a kind of cold elegance in true power. It wears silence like a robe and walks with unbroken rhythm. Even in conversation, the man who dominates with demeanor listens more than he speaks. But when he does speak, every word lands with weight. He does not fill silences. He uses them. He lets others trip over their own eagerness while he sits back, watching, measuring, letting their nervous energy expose their weaknesses. A powerful demeanor comes from the ability to remain composed regardless of circumstance. This composure is not natural. It is forged. It comes from rehearsing detachment, from mastering emotion, from turning chaos into routine. When you master your inner world, your outer behavior reflects it. You become the calm in the storm, the fixed point in a swirling room. Others begin to orbit around you. They instinctively defer to your energy because it is the only stable one they can find. The eyes are a weapon of demeanor. Never dart, never glance away quickly. Maintain eye contact, long enough to make others question their place. Not in aggression, but in sovereign calm. The confident gaze does not attack. It absorbs, evaluates, and establishes the line. Most people cannot hold a stare without twitching or retreating. Train yourself to see through others without flinching, and you will rarely need to speak to control the room. Your walk, too, is a message. It should be slow, deliberate, grounded. Not stiff, but efficient. You are not in a hurry. Those who rush appear as though they are being pulled by life. You must appear as if you pull life toward you. Every step must say, I belong here. I own this ground. When others see a man moving with purpose but without urgency, they instinctively assume he has mastered something they have not. Dress not for fashion, but for command. Every piece of your appearance should align with the image of control. Understated, clean, sharp. You do not wear clothing to impress others. You wear it to confirm what they already suspect. That you are not one of them. That you have risen above. People are highly sensitive to cues of dominance even when they cannot articulate them. Your tone, your pause before speaking, the way you take a seat, the confidence in your stillness. All these communicate volumes. You do not need to win arguments. You do not need to fight for attention. You only need to be unshaken. In a world of performance, your lack of performance becomes the highest performance. Others will follow the one who appears to need nothing, fear nothing, rush nothing. That is the essence of ruling without effort, of power that whispers instead of shouts. Power is not simply the ability to control outcomes. It is the ability to control belief. To dominate minds, you must leave no room for hesitation, not just in yourself, but in those around you. Doubt is the seed from which rebellion grows, the crack in loyalty, the whisper that turns followers into critics. If you wish to rule, you must eliminate not only your own doubts, but more importantly, crush the doubt of others, before it forms, before it breathes, before it dares to look you in the eyes. The first rule in crushing doubt is this: never tolerate questioning eyes. When someone looks at you and wonders, even silently, if you are capable, you must smother that flicker before it becomes fire. This is not about being defensive or explaining yourself. That is weakness. That is admission. No. Crushing doubt requires you to radiate inevitability. When you speak, speak with the force of certainty. When you move, move as if the world will bend to accommodate your decisions. People believe what you believe. If you believe, without crack or pause, that you are correct, capable, destined, then others will mirror that belief. The powerful do not convince, they infect. Any sign of uncertainty invites challenge. Any pause, stutter, or contradiction plants a seed. And people by nature are farmers of doubt. Give them that seed and they will water it with questions, fertilize it with gossip, and soon enough it will grow into disloyalty. To prevent this, you must starve them of anything to question. Speak less, but when you do, speak like a verdict. Act less, but when you act, act with irreversible force. Your decisions must feel final, not because they are flawless, but because they are decided. Weak leaders invite opinions. Strong ones impose reality. You must also manage the energy around you. Doubt is contagious. If you allow hesitant voices to linger near you, their poison will spread. The man who doubts your plan, your direction, your presence, he is not just a threat to morale, he is a threat to your throne. Remove him. Not necessarily with confrontation, but with distance. Exile his voice from your circle. Show others what happens to those who hesitate. The message must be clear. In your world, certainty is survival. Doubt is death. To crush doubt in others, you must become the source of all confidence. Be the man whose approval means everything, whose disapproval terrifies. Let your praise elevate a man's soul, and your silence break his spirit. When others know that their identity and value are linked to your recognition, they will cling to your certainty like it's truth itself. Doubt cannot survive in those who need you to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. Public moments are crucial. Never show struggle in front of others. You may fall in private, but in the eyes of your audience you must remain untouchable. The illusion of your strength is not decoration. It is the architecture of your power. When people see you under pressure, they must not witness hesitation. Even when uncertain, never let it touch your face. You are allowed to calculate, but never second guess. You are allowed to adjust, but never explain. Let others read your actions as part of a greater invisible plan. Doubt dies in the presence of mystery wrapped in confidence. You must understand that most people are not looking for truth. They are looking for someone to believe in. Give them that figure. Be the one who does not tremble, who does not ask, who does not wait. Others will follow because they are weary of their own minds.